Extra Minutes.
We had about an hour with Dolly at her recording studio. When we got to meet her, she loved us, and so we finished up with about an hour and a half. She couldn't do enough once we were there. I said in the piece that you don't have to like country to love Dolly. Well, I happen to love country music, but I also love Dolly, having met her. And she was just wonderful. She was generous to all of us. She wanted to meet us. She was fun. She was genuine. I think the only thing that's unreal about Dolly are the fingernails, the wig, and the boobs.
Well, hi, you.
Dolly, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm ready for you. Are you ready for me?
I'm ready for you.
Well,
Thank
let's
you.
go do it.
Delighted to meet you. We went to Nashville, and it was filled with Australians. We wandered around the streets, and suddenly people saw us there and said, "What are you doing?" And we told them it was Dolly, and they all went over the moon. And there were a couple of Australian country groups that were actually performing. Every bar in Nashville, of course, has music, live music, and you just go from one to the other without any cover charge, without any great cost. She loves songwriting. She's written about 3,000 songs, she says, and amongst those are I'll Always Love You, 9 to 5, Jolene, and a couple of others that are probably 4 or 5 of the top 50 country songs of all time. Now that's phenomenal. There aren't many people who've done that. So apart from being a performer and being a good singer with a beautiful voice, she also is a really clever writer. And there are various things in the interview you saw there where we talked about some of the lines that she had, and they weren't just Jolene, Jolene, Jolene. That there are other clever ones, like a cup of ambition for a cup of coffee. You tumble out of bed and stumble in the kitchen and have a cup of ambition. Now, kitchen and ambition are interesting rhyming words, but for a southern accent, they work perfectly.
And I thought, kitchen? What'll I do in the kitchen? No, I'm going to pour some coffee. I'm thinking, well, what'll rhyme with kitchen? Ambition. Cup of ambition. Oh, yes. I thought, yes. And I really thought that was one of my best lines.
Isn't that a great line?
Yes. Every once in a while, I'll come across a line and I think, whoa, thank you, Lord, because I know I wouldn't have thought of that on my own. Ain't that clever?
So God gets the credit and you get the cash.
Exactly.
I think I'll Always Love You is my favourite Dolly Parton song for those reasons. It's just beautifully written and especially interpreted by someone like Whitney Houston. But I kind of like Jolene. I think there's a message there. The funny thing, as we said, is that it's been recorded by 30 different artists in 6 different languages around the world. So there's something that resonates for everybody, that there's a pretty woman or a handsome man around the place who's actually going to come along and sort of tempt your lover.
Jolene, 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 I'm begging of you, please, don't take my man. Jolene, 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 Jolene.
Star interviews are really, can often be difficult. If you just get an hour with a star and you've never met them before, then you've got to get their trust quickly, and you hope that the cameraman, the sound man and the producer and so on have all done their work or do their work and they add to it, because that's all part of the package that they're seeing. You blow in today and then half an hour later the BBC are there, and half an hour before American NBC are there or something like that. So often you just get you blow into their lives. If you can suddenly leave a mark, and Australians tend to be fairly good, our crews are fantastic in this, they make it easier. And what I've found almost without exception is that they've given you an hour, but as long as they're not locked into something in the next hour, you'll usually squeeze an extra half hour, even longer, out of them. Usually they like the fact we're relaxed and we're unpretentious and we kind of do our homework. I've had a couple like Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise and people like that over the years who actually come back and let me interview them, or Elton John, let me interview them half a dozen times, and that's always a good sign if they feel comfortable enough to talk with you again. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes they can be difficult.